Hello, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to mend a leather belt that has unfortunately seen better days. So the buckle is practically coming off. It's held on by one tiny thread, and as you can see, I'll come around here and let you see. This is stitched, and to stitch something like that, you need very heavy needles and an industrial sewing machine that's designed to stitch leather. I don't have these, so what I'm going to use is the rivets, the screw rivets that we've used before, and I'm going to replace the 2 rows of stitching with 2 rivets at either side. I'm not going to try and repair the leather. I'm going to cut off that top bit of the belt, or the end bit of the belt, fold it over and create the same thing again. So once we've cut that bit off and unpicked the stitching and folded it out, that will give us a template for what that's going to look like further up. So as you can see, for the bar on the buckle, that needs to go through a slit in the leather. So we've got a craft knife, Stanley knife, my usual massive scissors, just in case I need them. The main thing we're going to need is a hole punch. You can get these. I'm going to link to everything that you need for this job in the description. These aren't expensive things. The rivets, the hole punch, nothing's expensive. I gave this belt to my son about 15 years ago, and he's worn it very, very often since then. And unfortunately, it's become worn out. Now, it's such a lovely belt, really high quality leather. It's a Ralph Lauren belt, and they're made to last, and it needs repairing. So if you buy decent stuff in the first place, don't throw it out. You can fix it. I'm going to cut the end off the belt with the scissors. And then, because I need to free the belt loop, we need to reuse that. Very carefully, always cut, especially with a craft knife, cut away from yourself and pick. Again, I'll try and show you a close-up. All you're doing is just choosing a loop of the cotton thread. Once you get the first one done, the rest should then be fairly easy. The only reason we're being delicate with this is because we need to use this as a template for the next bit. I can cut the end off there, and then hopefully that just comes off. Cut the other end off. Right. So we'll take the belt loop off. I'm going to use that later. And then we need to do the same thing with the top end. Right, so we have the 2 bits. So now that has come unattached, but that at least gives us the template for what we're going to need. That's where the bar for the belt loop, the belt buckle is going to go through. Then these lines of stitching show us where the rivets are going to go. So we just need to mark on here where these holes are going to be. I'm going to make 2 holes with the hole punch at the top and bottom, and then join the 2 holes up. So I'm going to put that there and that there. Now, the thing to be wary of is, obviously you're going to lose a good couple of inches off the top of your belt. So only do this with things where you can afford to lose a little bit of the overall length. Now I'm just going to use the craft knife to mark the top and the bottom of that slot that we want to make. I've got two very clear marks there. Now, the hole punch has a variety of different hole sizes, and for this one I'm going to use quite a fat hole. So we'll get that. Make a hole there. And the same thing at the other end, to make sure they line up. There we are. So I've created two holes that are going to match up with both ends of that hole, if that makes sense. So as I say, we're using that as a template. And then I can use the craft knife to join the two holes together. So we're matching down one side, carefully does it, to the other hole, and down the other side to the other side of the hole. And that is what we wanted to achieve. So, just to show you how that's going to go. Now you need to make sure, obviously when you have the buckle, there's a particular way around that it has to go. If you get it like that, it's not the right way around because that's going to stick up. It needs to end up with the curved bit sitting on top of the bar, like that. So, you put that through the slot that we've just created, and then put the rest of the belt through the belt buckle and wrap it round. Now, at this stage, you want to make sure that you've got the belt the right way around. So you're just trying it for size, the slot's in the right place, and that's the right side of the belt. So the belt's there, the rough side of the belt is there, the unfinished side, and that's the finished side, and that's the top of the belt buckle, and that's correct. So that'll fasten like that, as normal. So, we're in the right place. So now we need to recreate the 2 rows of stitching. We're going to, instead of putting the 2 rows of stitching, we're going to put 2 rows of rivets. So I'll just take the buckle off just now. And again, just match up with where the slot is. And I'm going to use a much smaller because I now want to match with the size of the rivet that we're using, which is a much smaller hole. So I'm going to spin that round. To the smallest hole. And matching the broken bit with the top of the slot, I'm just going to make these 2 holes. Now what that's done is it's put the hole right through the bit I was using as the template, but only an impression on the belt itself, which is great because it makes sure that it's in the right place. So we can punch those through all the way later on, but now I can just match them up to do the second lot of holes. Now, as you can see, I've made a bit of a dog's dinner of that because they're not level. However, it's not that critical because I'll show you why in a second, because they're not going to be seen when the belt's worn. Now, so we've got the top set of holes. Because those are in a position that I've just created, we want to match them up. We want to match the second set of holes with the ones we've just created there. So we're not going to use the other side of the template bit. We're going to fold it over. You've got your 4 holes that we've just made, the slot that we made earlier, like that. And we now want to punch all the way through these 4 holes there. And we're using the slot that we made as the guide, if that makes sense. So make sure the belt is nice and level. So that's one. Okay, so we've now got the 2 holes. We folded that over and got the 2 holes matching up. I'm just going to punch these all the way through. That's it. Now, what I would suggest we do at this stage is start to construct the belt so that it means that everything's in place and fastened in place for when the second set of holes are made. If you see what I mean, let's just put that in there. So again, put the bar through the slot. That through the belt. So because that's going to be to the outside, you need to decide which side of the rivet you want to have visible on the outside. Now obviously it is thick leather and it's quite difficult to work with. Right, so what I've done, it's quite fiddly to work with, but I've put the rivet through and I've started to tighten it up, and I've put it through the 2 holes, and now using a screwdriver from the visible side, you can start to tighten it. And that's holding it in place. A final turn gets it nice and level. Now I'll do the second one. So I'll put the rivet through the bottom of the belt. Could sometimes take a couple of turns just to find the thread. So now we've got the first couple of rivets in there. So now we want to make these other 2 holes in the bottom of the belt to put the second lot of rivets through. And because we've got the first rivets in place, this holds everything in the right place. So we know we're putting the holes are going to go through exactly where we need them to be. Hopefully you can see all the way through the holes in the belt. What we mustn't forget at this stage is to put the belt loop on. So we put the belt loop on, and that, as you can see, so the belt goes through the loop, fastens, and we want the belt loop to be there, held in place. So, how do we get it to there? Trace the path all the way down to the other end of the belt, and then just feed it through. Feed it through. And again, you're just putting both halves of the rivet through, and then you just have to try and make them marry up at the other side. That click hopefully means that they've now found the thread. And the final one. There. And there we have it. So we've got our belt buckle reattached with a new slot cut in the top and the new rivets in, folded over, and the belt loop in place. And when that's fastened, looks fantastic. So very pleased with the result of that. That's going to be good for another 15, 20 years, as long as my son doesn't put on any weight, because as you can see, he's a lot thinner than I am. But yeah. So if you have any questions about riveting, about hole punching, about belts in general, just drop them into the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. If you like this type of content, please think about subscribing to the channel, and you'll see more of these videos for my essential guide to the modern man. But let me know your experiences of trying this technique. Look forward to seeing how you get on. Anyway, until next time, take care. I'll see you very soon.